Welcome everyone. Thank you for tuning in to this special edition of Last Week Tonight. Let's jump right in. Immigration law. Tonight we're going to talk about a new immigration bill that was introduced in Congress, and everything that is wrong with it. The bill, United States S-599, was introduced on February 28, 2019, by Tom Cotton, a senator from Arkansas. Seriously, if I was writing a book and got lazy coming up with a name for a racist politician, his name would be Tom Cotton. Cotton has been in the news recently, after, somehow, being shortlisted for a nomination to the Supreme Court by President Trump. This bill establishes that aliens that are in any way associated with a criminal gang is not allowed into the United States and will be deported if already in the country. These aliens are 1. Subject to mandatory detention, 2. Barred from receiving asylum, 3. Not eligible for protected status, and 4. Barred from receiving special immigrant juvenile status. Cotton's bill is named after Corporal Singh, an immigrant, who was killed on duty by an illegal alien gang member. Isn't it interesting how the criminology of the other can be implemented even when the victim is also considered an other? The main tactic utilized in this bill to keep immigrants and asylum seekers out of the country falls under what Garland would call politics of denial. The politics of denial strategy has a number of important and really disturbing components. First, it highlights the criminology of the other. Othering is used to criminalize undocumented immigrants that come to America. The measure is formed in accordance with actuarial justice, as immigrants don't actually have to commit a crime in order to be categorized as an alien associated with a criminal gang. According to Cotton's bill, any alien immigrant is not allowed in the country if a state actor has any reason to believe that the immigrant is in any way affiliated to a criminal gang. No evidence of a crime is necessary. Immigrants essentially face consequences pre-crime. Okay. Don't look at me like that, I know that the UK has done this kind of thing too. My own country is a champion of the culture of control and of risk subjectification. I know. This pre-crime measure is justified through creating anxiety in society and seeing the alien other as a danger that must be managed through state action. Strong state action. Trump emphasizes, in his bird-like preferred way of communication, that it is time to be tough on illegal immigration. Not only does he induce fear in society, but in less than 280 characters, he argues that administrative action must take place to counter it. Trump uses populist and politicized measures to counter society's anxiety, after creating the anxiety himself. Garland also pointed out how populist politicians will pretend to put a spotlight on the victim. Indeed, you cannot be more obvious about this tactic, and put the spotlight on the victim any more than naming a legislation after them. This is executed with emotive intention, to remind everyone of the life that was lost, because this law was not enacted sooner. Never mind all the lives of immigrants and asylum seekers that will be lost because of this bill, because of identity politics, because of moral panics and populism. The politics of denial strategy forces the grouping and criminalization of what Baker Beale identifies as the alien other. Already back in 1992, Beck spoke of scapegoating, a tactic of grouping together and blaming together. At best, Singh's law groups together anyone that is considered as this alien other. and says that any alien also has a heightened risk for gang involvement, and is thus worthy of criminalization, based on mere assumptions. In this administration, it would not surprise me if this is in fact a calculated response, in order to further marginalize the other. Is this really crime control? Or should it be perceived as a cremigration method? Using politics of denial, it's almost justified that pre-crime measures must be implemented. Almost. Because, what does a pre-crime measure mean for the rule of law? This attempt to widen the net of social control through criminal and administrative law exemplifies the theoretical framework of the culture of control. In pursuit of security, actuarial justice is employed by our pal Tom Cotton. Actuarial justice entails an increase in the power exerted by the government, supposedly because we are in a time of crisis. This state of exception has become the norm and allowed for continual decisions on who is excluded from society or at least deprived from his or her civil liberties and rights for being a potential risk or threat, as Professor van der Woude wrote. In this new normal, the priority of a false sense of security can be used to justify violations of human rights. We see more than ever the need to address the policy-making cycle. Law needs to respect human rights, and law needs to be inspected in the context of ordinary social life and understand what the socially relevant problem actually is, and the mechanisms behind it. Let's not forget how many asylum seekers say that if they go back to their countries, where they are forced into gangs without any choice, they will not survive. Immigrant rights coalitions are putting together information manuals on how to escape death by coming to America. Sending these people back is a severe, pre-crime, punitive response, if I've ever seen one. And it is not okay to turn this into a state of exception against immigrants. The point is, these politics have nothing to do with the rule of law. Trump and his lawmakers have repeatedly said that if people want to get into America, they should get in line. But, listen. If you're going to tell people to get in line to be a legal immigrant, you should at least make sure they actually have a line to stand in, before it is too late for them. That's it, thanks very much for watching.